What is good, YouTube? It's your boy OG Nonboy back with another video, and in today's video I'm going to be going over a team that I found on Jonkis's top 5 teams of the Great League Remix video. And this team consists of Machamp in the front with Snorlax, Safe Swap, and AURORUS in the back. So kind of how you want to play this team is like an ABB style, where you use the Snorlax to bait out a fighting type which your AURORUS is double weak to, and then have the AURORUS sweep in the back. So without further ado, let's get into these battles here. AURORUS did get the Meteor Beam in the new move update, so I'm excited to see how well it does here. So first match, we have a Noctowl lead, which is obviously not too great for us, so we swap into the Snorlax and we do bait out a fighting type in the, what is this thing here, the Hitmonchan, right? So they're going to be able to farm us all the way down, so they have a lot of energy, which is kind of tough for our Shadow Machamp just because we are so squishy. So we're going to have to shield once, unless we want to get taken out, and we definitely don't want to get taken out since the counter damage would be doing a lot to our AURORUS here. So I'm going to go ahead and commit this shield and farm all the way down. At least the good thing about the Machamp is it does have the coverage move of Rock Slide against the flying type, so we're going to be able to get one of these off, and they let it go, so they instantly swap into their Frost Glass, and this is actually a pretty good matchup for our AURORUS here, since we do know the Meteor Beam. And I kind of make a misplay here and I actually throw the Weather Ball and it goes unshielded. So why that's kind of stupid is because we are able to tank one Shadow Ball, so we actually outpace them to 2 moves, since like we have even shields. So if we just go straight Meteor Beam, we should just be able to take them out pretty easily. So as you can see here, you're going to be able to tank the Shadow Ball, and then I'm going to be able to reach a Meteor Beam. So like, no reason to bait it all in this situation, but that's just kind of how strong the AURORUS is here. So now we just have to make it to a Weather Ball, and we're just able to do it since we did overfarm a little bit in the previous matchup. So we were able to make up for our mistake and win that match there. So next match here, we have Machamp into Machamp. So we're going to want to stay in this matchup, and we're definitely going to invest shields. They win CMP here, but I'm just going to shield, and depending on what the opponent does, like, we're just going to have to like play out the matchup. But if they shield this, we're going to have to just simul KO, and because like neither of us is going to reach another move at this point before we farm each other down. So now it's just up to what's in the back. So I'm probably going to bring my Snorlax in just because it is the safer choice between the two, as it is the safe swap. So they bring in a Melmetal, which is kind of bad for us since neither of our back 2 Pokemon want to see this in particular. So I'm going to go straight for the superpower here. Yeah, I probably should have baited, but it is what it is. So we hit them with a superpower. They hit us with another move. I'm expecting the superpower, but it actually ends up being a Rock Slide, which is still basically enough to take us out. So I'm going to bring my AURORUS in immediately, and I'm going to shield this too because I'm anticipating a superpower. But for some reason the opponent is just throwing straight Rock Slides, but it doesn't really matter since they have a Wish Cache in the back, and I won't be able to take this out before they're able to take me out, since only 2 Mud Bombs take me out, and I'd have to get to a whole bunch of Weather Balls here. So we're not quite that spammy, and we're definitely going to take the L in this match here. So GG's to my opponent. The Melmetal is quite an interesting pick. Like, I haven't seen that run too much in either the Open Great League or even the Great League Remix. So props to them for that. And I tried to surrender there, but they were able to farm me out before then. So next match, we have a Ferrothorn lead, which is a very positive lead for us. And they're going to swap into Frost Glass. So Frost Glass is a very common pick now in this meta, and a lot of people think that it doesn't really have too many hard checks, especially since fire types are not too common in this cup here. But next video, I'm going to be releasing a pretty interesting team that I came up with, since I was seeing a lot of Frost Glass and a lot of Vigoroth. So take a guess at what Pokemon might be hardwalling both of those Pokemon. And yeah, that's like a little sneak peek for next video, but we're just going to play this matchup out. We get this next Body Slam off, and thankfully we are able to maintain alignment since they do let it go. And this works out very well for us, since we're going to be able to realign our Machamp to the Ferrothorn, and they swap into a Stunfisk. So this is still a little bit tricky just because we both are doing super effective damage to each other, but it looks like the Mud Bombs are going to be doing a lot more than our Weather Balls. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this Weather Bomb off, or Weather Ball rather off. And this is where you kind of have to be careful and you got to recognize your win conditions. So I have to let this go because the Ferrothorn is pretty close to a move. So I have to save my last shield for that move. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this Cross Chop off on CMP. The opponent decides to shield and I have to tank this since I know they're either at or very close to a Power Whip on their Ferrothorn. So I'm going to go ahead and attempt to farm them down, but they actually swap out. And I throw on perfect timing here, so they're not able to sneak in another move. And this allows me to take them out as they're throwing the move here. So good timing and good decision making in that middle matchup against the Stunfisk ultimately led me to winning this match here. So GG's to the opponent. It ended up being pretty close even though we did win the lead and the swap there. So next match we have a Machamp into Probopass. So this is kind of the dream lead, but they swap into a Grand Bull, and I don't know if the Snorlax was the best answer here, since if they commit enough shields they should be able to win switchback. So I'm going to just get off my 2 body slams and hopefully they don't shield both so I can realign my Machamp to the Probopass, but they decide to double shield, so I'm going to go ahead and bring my AURORUS in here, and this could be the close combat, so I'm going to respect it with a shield, and they end up going straight for the crunch. So not looking too good for us. They bring the Probopass back in. I'm going to go ahead and throw this Weather Ball so that I can stall out the Switch Clock and swap into my Machamp. So they actually have a Victory Bell in the back, but we should be able to reach this Rock Slide, and this will take them out. And now it's just up to AURORUS and if it can take down this Probopass here. So I'm going to go for the Meteor Beam here, which honestly I don't know if that's necessarily the right move. I think both these moves are single resisted since Rock actually doesn't resist Rock, interestingly enough. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this Meteor Beam, and then I am hoping to outpace them to the Weather Ball before they can farm me down or get to another move of their own, and we're just able to do that. So AURORUS putting in that work even in not so favorable matchups here. So I believe this is the final match. We have the Machamp into Frostglass, and like I said, Frostglass just everywhere, and we're going to be hard countering it with our next team. So stay tuned for that. But they swap in the Mandibuzz, and we might be able to maintain alignment here, but I actually don't know that I want alignment that bad, because I'd rather have an energy lead on my AURORUS so that I can threaten the Frostglass with some Meteor Beams if that decides to come back in. And I don't know how important alignment is, since our Machamp also does kind of okay against the Frostglass if it's able to get some Rock Slides off. So I kind of make a mistake here, since that was my train of thinking. I decide to undercharge this and try to get some extra farm with my AURORUS, but it ended up being a pretty stupid idea, since as you're gonna see here, they bring an Empoleon back in. So definitely would have been nice to have alignment there, and I had it as well if I had just, you know, fully charged the Body Slam, but I ended up throwing that game pretty hard there. So at this point the game's basically over. They farmed up quite a bit of energy on their Frostglass before swapping out into the Mandibuzz in the earlier matchup, so they're pretty ahead on energy. I'm going to keep fighting the good fight here for a bit and seeing if I can take them out with a Cross Chop. But at this point I think the game is more or less lost, especially if they decide to invest the last shield here. So yeah, they're going to be able to take me out before I can reach another move, and the Empoleon should make easy work of my AURORUS here. Looks like a little bit of lag, but doesn't really matter too much in the end. I'm just going to get the Meteor Beam off just to see how much it does. And it actually does quite a bit, so if we were able to get to another Weather Ball, we might have actually had a shot, but they do reach the Hydro Cannon, and that is a GG. So overall, very fun team. AURORUS is a pretty interesting pick now. Very cool looking Pokemon too, so nice to see that it has some play now in the meta here. And yeah, that's all for today's video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and also submit your battles in the link in the description below, and I'll see you in the next one.